Okay, and we're back online. I'm back and ready to go. Apologies for the slight delay in starting the shoe, but I just had to finish up some downloads, actually, some audio working. I know I'm gonna have a really choppy video here for the next few moments as my internet catches up. I had a bunch of stuff downloading in the background. I think that's done. And hopefully YouTube will figure itself out here in a few minutes. It looks like it's slowly starting to improve the frame rate. I don't know if I'm going to get up to a full like 30 FPS or anything, but I think this will be a lot more user-friendly. Yep, we're starting to get something more readable at this point, or more watchable, I should say. at some point I will close down the other chat window or the other video window, which I just used to make sure everything's working as expected. And we'll see how this goes. I'm going to end up actually lowering down the video quality a little bit. Having two cameras running at once seems to slow things down a lot. I don't know why. Because that should be a computer thing, not a YouTube thing. Maybe the computer just isn't able to process that out fast enough. I don't know. Let me actually just look down here for a bit. See, yeah, I'm getting very few drop frames. You know, few here and there. Rarely, but that doesn't seem to be on the computer end. So there's something on the network that is getting really weird and confusing. That's interesting. I don't know why that might happen. Don't have anything going on in the background that I can think of. I should probably run some network tests. So maybe I'm going to make a note to myself. Note to self, do a network with test while live streaming with two cameras. Okay, I'll try that out probably tomorrow and see why I'm getting this choppy video. But like I said, that should be a little bit better as the night goes on. But we're here to draw, not to worry about video so much. Let me get some music going here from No Copyright Sounds. And we will keep that going. Let's try something right there. Let me know how that is in the, there we go. So one sec while I get this adjusted appropriately for me. Okay, so like I said, in the chat let me know if this is too, a little too overwhelming audio-wise, and I gotta fix this. I've actually ordered a longer microphone or headphone cable for this because this is a little annoying. But we will make this happen. So let's go ahead and get to our line reps. Every week we start with some line reps. Just drawing down. I'm actually gonna move that a little bit so you can see. Let me adjust my lights a little bit. Give you a little bit better lighting there. So just trying to get reasonably straight lines here by pulling down on the page. Just getting my hand back in practice. Getting this working. I know I got 3 viewers. Hello, viewers. As we get back into the swing of drawing tonight in preparation for working on some super deformed comic characters. I think I have some ideas now for what I want to do super deformed wise. I want to do a comic, an ongoing comic where every week I'll draw a couple panels of this comic, sort of comic strip like, maybe some 3-panel comics, something like that. And yeah, get some nice lines in. Some circles. Ooh. And the whole idea there is to have something relatively SD to practice with every week. So that when I do this stream, I'll spend some of this stream, practicing this stuff, some doing the other drawing stuff, doing some SD stuff, and then moving on to other things, drawing some more realistic stuff maybe. Hey Kuma Bear, glad you could be here, as always. I have been drawing for basically as long as I've been doing this drawing stream. The whole idea of drawing inward was, I mean, I've tried before. I've taken books and scribbled, but we're talking a few hours you know, 1 year. And then a few years later, I'd scribble some things and try to do some things. But like my total drawing output up to this point was maybe a sketchbook's worth, which I've since scanned in and I have sitting there. This is the 20th of March. Sign it. And so the whole idea there is this. Audio's on point. Good. I will go ahead and pause my video stream, my video viewing there. I have a YouTube window up, and I can pause that so it's not constantly pulling down video there. So that will probably help the stream, because I don't have, you know, HD video running. Actually, one other thing I can do, I'm going to change the settings on that down to like 360. And I'll keep it paused, but just if I ever have to look at it again, I don't need to have HD video coming in. Anyway, so yes, so this drawing inward stream is basically my teaching myself to draw in a real way. All right, so let's do some more line reps. Trying to draw between an existing shape. Make sure I can flow like that. That's good. But yeah, that's kind of the appeal of this stream in a way for me, is that this is my chance to learn how to do this, and you get to watch me do that. Right? Like, we're all learning. We're all learning this stuff together. You can see how how I mess up and how I learn how to do these things better. Oops. There we are. Better. Okay. I am looking for slightly more instrumental melodic music than this. That was one of the reasons why we had a slow start. I was finishing up getting some of that music. I will eventually get to something a little nicer, but also YouTube approved. I actually came across a service called artists.io. I think it's artists.io, which provides a whole bunch of like YouTube approved, very beautiful music, but it's like $200 for access to the music on there. Fortunately, that gives you access to everything. But then you have to download it all or download what you want and all that stuff. And so like, it's not a bad price. It's just more than I'm willing to spend right this second on good music. So how you doing, Kuma Bear? How's your week been, and what's new with you? Do you draw at all? All right, that's a good place to stop on that. March 18. All right, then we're gonna do some pose practices. That's pretty good. Well, it's a little hard to see that. We will go here. Let's try to copy him. We're a little blurry there. Let's see if we can't fix that. One sec. There we go. A little more things. So I'm going to try drawing, I think, this outline. This is, I forget what it's called. Contours. Contour practice. It's called contours. And I can tell I've already dulled. I need more stuff here. I actually have quite a collection of like nice electronica music and stuff that's like from old internet archives, but I don't know if YouTube would flag it. Like, it's technically not mine, but it's stuff that was, you know, posted up publicly for people to just download and listen to. So it's like, I don't think the artist would mind. I don't want to risk it. Doing fine. Glad to hear that. Ah, nice. A career in science. Definitely want to invent, develop your artistic side. Awesome. What's your science career? Science is a worthy goal. All right, let's try to follow his head. And that goes down there. There's the shoulder. And that arm going down like that. And the hand. We come back up. I can tell I'm off, but that's okay. I'm going to ignore the sword, actually. Oops. I'm outside a little bit. I'm okay with correcting a few of my mistakes if I realize that my hand kind of trembled. Apologies if I've asked you these questions before, Kuma. I have a terrible memory. Come back around. Do that. Again, just trying to get the contours of... Whoa! Again, I kind of wiggled there. Come back up. Can't really see the into the sword, so I'm going to go ahead and pretend. And come around, come up, and then around, and do the, yeah. So the head's a bit off, obviously. And then we have that. Oh wow, giant hand, yeah. Always helps with the sound effects. And then that goes down like that. Okay. Hi, Kaminoko. Hi, Shy Nerd Girl. Good name. Okay, so that was a fun little contour drawing exercise. You know, it doesn't look right, but that's okay. I'm going to do one more. This feels like something that's going to help me. By the way, I apologize. I purpose to scan all these in and upload them to DeviantArt and then put the links to those in the description after every video, after every drawing stream. And last week, I did all that except actually uploading them to DeviantArt. So they're not actually up yet, but probably tonight after this stream, I'll do both of them. Not because what I draw is particularly amazing. Love the detail. Thanks. Yeah. But to document, right? I'm putting them up there so you can actually see how my drawings have changed over time, how practice improves one's drawings. All right, so let's move over to him. Just try to do a contour of him. So starting at the top of the head. And again, the idea here is to pretend that your finger is actually tracing the outline of his body, which is not easy, but it's very good practice. And obviously the outline of the sword as well. It's easy to get kind of ahead of yourself when doing this. I'm going to ignore the sword there. I'm going to say, oh, okay, that's a curve. I know how to draw a curve, but that's not the point of the... Whoa! I'm way off on that. That's... Ooh, okay. Again, the point is to feel the line and really get a sense that you're following it. And it's interesting how much things can hide details. Is that about right? That's going to be about right for me. It's not particularly fun or, you know, revealing, but you do learn a lot about human anatomy and about, like, your limitations as an artist. And I think humility, wow, I'm getting really big feet on this guy. Humility is usually a good thing to learn. Realize, okay, like, I am definitely not a good art. Yeah, look at this. That's funny. But you keep on doing it. I'm just going to do the fist, actually. I also wonder how much just kind of anatomy is burning itself into my head this way. Wow. Lines are completely wrong. Okay. Whoop. Neck. Yeah. Okay. Get the idea. Hi, Daniel. Playing Tekken while listening to and viewing your stream. Don't mind me not typing much. That's fine, Kuma. I totally appreciate that. Let me just check real quick while I'm refreshing my beverage how the video choppiness is doing. Yeah, that's choppy. Outputting 2 video cameras at once is problematic in OBS, and I wonder why that is. Not sure what aspect of my rig needs to be improved to make that not choppy, because on my end it's fine. Which actually that tells me that maybe that's weird. It's not choppy when it's just one camera, but on here it seems fine. Maybe, okay, but maybe the software, while combining it, has issues. Maybe. And I certainly wouldn't want to do this with no second camera. That's kind of boring to look at. Oh well. Such is life. Not everything works the way you want it to. Alrighty. So that's gonna contour. It's fine for me. 20th. March 18th. See moving parts of a dress. Awesome, Kaminoko. I was just going to ask what you were up to tonight. Is this for cosplay or just a dress? Just a dress, but you know, non-cosplay dress. Alright, so there's that. And we move this back away. So let's move on to our the main event. Now that we've done a little bit of warming up. So you may notice something new over here. I got a new book today. This is the second volume of the Super Deformed Characters series. Here's volume 1, regular human characters, and then we have manga. Thrifting find for Easter, awesome. Yeah, I actually have a few clothing alterations to do myself, which might end up becoming part of Workshop Wednesday. Just do a few little, patching up of clothes and working on stuff. All right, so just want to let you know about this. It's basically about, animal characters in SD. So how to do both animals in SD, a wide variety of animals. And then I think there's a thing and pretty much everyone has some anthropomorphized animal. Not necessarily. There were more than I thought of. Yeah, so there's an anthropomorphized duck or goose. Doesn't look much like Princess Tutu to me. Anthropomorphized whale and orca, because who doesn't need that, right? Anthropomorphized octopi. Again, doesn't look like Ikimusume either. Let's see here. Mollusks, shrimp and jellyfish, snakes. Anthropomorphized iguana. That's amazing. That is amazing right there. Like that's a character. Chameleons, bats, grasshoppers, Batman. Yep, of course. Dragons, which they don't anthropomorphize at all, which is kind of funny. And so yeah, so this might be something that I do. I'm actually half tempted to do a little like tabletop role playing. Yeah, things can be chibis too. So basically, how to chibify things like furniture, dishes, architecture, knives and drums, bowls and TV sets. Nuts. Try putting points on the border of the drawings. You'll have some references while drawing lines. Good idea. Thank you. I will try that. The funny thing about this, I've just skimmed it today. There's a thing at the beginning, this section here, where the author goes on this rant about cat girls and about how everyone's just plopping cat ears on girl characters and making them cat girls and saying, but that doesn't really do anything to the character. And just, you know, but the fundamental point, which I think is useful, is basically, well, attaching cat ears allows the artist to portray aspects that would normally be difficult with a regular human, or imbue the character with individualistic, eccentric qualities. There's nothing particularly wrong with a cat-eared girl. However, the addition of cat ears does not do anything to define the character's personality at this point. Basically, his idea is cat girls have become so ubiquitous, and just putting cat ears on a character just doesn't tell you anything anymore. It should say something. You know, those cat ears should convey something about the character's personality. All-purpose cultural cat girl Nuku Nuku had the attributes of a cat because she's kind of a robot with a cat's brain. A human girl robot with a cat's brain and cat ears. And so that is part of the joke, is that she's kind of easily distracted by shiny things, and she likes to laze around in the sun a lot. So that is so the kind of his point is, if you're going to animalize something, if you will, make it part of the character. You know, make it important to the character's personality, which I think is a good point. But it's kind of like, you know, all this stuff about how to draw all these various stuff, but a full page to ranting about overuse and abuse of cat girl iconography. It's kind of funny. All right, so I was thinking, I kind of like to do a monster manual that's all just little chibi animals. You know, do owl bears and all that kind of stuff, goblins and such, all as little chibi things, dragons and things like that. I think that'll be really fun. So that might be a project, obviously not for this week or next, but sometime in the future, just to do a little thing like that. I guess part of another project I kind of want to work on. So the project for today is to try to essentially design a female character, and then replicate it, and basically try to draw it multiple different times, multiple different angles. And part of that is I'm going to be very simple. I want to take very basic artistic elements and combine those together. So the clothing, hairstyle, all that, I want to be very, very simple. And then go on from there. So let's see here, because the idea again in future is to do something. Oh, that's kind of nice. I think I'll just do a shirt and skirt though. I kind of like this shirt and skirt combo, but not quite as fantasy. So maybe something along these lines. I kind of like. Let me try to get this. Just adjust the camera here a little bit. That's about right. Okay. So yes, let me see if I can't design a little character here and play around with just eyes and such. Yeah, the author's point is not incorrect. It's just kind of funny to devote a full page to that whole thing. And granted, I mean, and these things came out in the late 90s, I think. Let me see. Originally. 2003. Okay. So, yeah, by that point, the the idea had definitely been around and was probably a little overdone. Okay. Funny, cat girls do seem to have kind of they're not as prevalent now as they used to be. That was definitely an 80s and 90s thing, not really a 2010 thing. I could use some more cat girls in anime. I guess now you get characters where, you know, cat ears will pop out to illustrate that they're being sort of cat-like, but they're not actually cat girls. You know, you get sort of the visual sense, but nothing else. All right, so we got a decent point on the pencil. So like I said, let me try a few things. So you mentioned putting points. I'm actually going to grab a ruler, which is right over here. And use that. And I think, like you were saying, whoops, what I'll do is I'll use those as bases for the, wow, I really got messed up. The dimensions of the character. So the 3-to-1 ratio. So let me go ahead and do, this is going to be SD Protag experiments. But it helps to just kind of title things so I have an idea what I'm doing. So we're going to go with, so we have some space. Let's do maybe 6 centimeters for each. Actually, I should have gone from there, shouldn't I have? Okay, that's a lesson learned. So let's just do, we'll start at 6. 18, 24. Okay. 6, 12, 18, 24 centimeters. I'm trying to teach myself metric because I've grown up with Imperial, and Imperial is kind of inconvenient, especially now I'm doing a lot of 3D printing. And a lot of 3D printing stuff is in metric, but also like you are dealing with these very small amounts, and you know you're trying to scale things around. It's just a lot easier if you go to metric over Imperial. So we have our character's head. So let's just go ahead and do the head. I think you were saying before. I think you're absolutely right, Daniel. This is going to make things a lot easier. So let me just do a actually no. You know, let's do the hair. So how complicated do I want to get the hair? And I'm okay with the classic, you know, long hair means girl trope, especially now that I'm starting out. So the question is, what hairstyle do I want? No. Ooh, I think that's good. Something like that, where you've got the the hair flowing around and some bangs up front. Yeah, that's good. So let me stick a. I'll use this for now. So I'm gonna do. So the hair will come down like this, and down like this, and that also is convenient because that means I can kind of draw that and then draw the head into there. So we have our head. Let's see here. The head should start. It looks like, wow, look that far down. Okay. So our head comes like this, maybe, and then like this. Is that our head? Nope, should be wider. Okay. In fact, that should certainly be out here. And then we will do our smiley curve for the chin. Let me just get this kind of roughed in. Okay, yeah, that seems not unreasonable. And then we have the bangs that go on. Okay, so within this we will do our fairly standard anime bangs we do the part in the middle, because again, I'm not trying to give myself a lot of work. Good. And then I have this tendency to make these very mannish heads. And a nice curve there. Okay, so then we have it. And then for clothing, I'll get back to eyes, because eyes is something I need to play around with a bit. But for clothing, I talked about how I liked, I like this sort of shirt and skirt combo. So let's go with that. Maybe it will be kind of fantasy-esque, fantasy-ish. Although that's a bit much to throw into something like this. So we'll just do a simple collared shirt. It comes out. And then we know the body is a little thinner than the head. So we got our shirt coming out like this. Like that maybe. So we'll try these proportions for now. Yeah, that should come in. Eraser, where'd my eraser go? There it is. So that's interesting. I feel like that body is just not big enough, but I'm not sure. Oops. Yeah. And then we can just do... I'm not too worried about arms at this point. And then we have a simple skirt. Ooh, she has kind of a midriff, maybe a belt. Well, we're going to go ahead and just do something like this. Okay. Whoops. Nope. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. Ahaha. So I'm really off here. Yeah, that's what's off on this, is that it shouldn't be torso and skirt. It should be torso and skirt together, is that entire thing. So that's why this is looking weird. That's why this is looking weird. So really, we've got that much for the head, and then that much. Yeah. Wow. And then we have our again, I'm not too worried about feet at this point, because it doesn't seem to really make that big of a deal. Okay. And then his arms are too big. All right, what am I doing wrong here? Body is perhaps a bit too big. I don't know. We'll go ahead and give her. What do we do with the hair? The ends of the hair there. Okay, yeah, just a few things aside, and then it's more or less. Okay, so we do, and then it's gonna come down. Okay. So what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? Arms are way out, or out way too far. Okay. Okay, that's looking a little more normal, shape-wise. I'm actually, wow, I've got that way more curved than he does, even. I'm missing. I think actually the body is a little too wide. look more right? That does look more right, strangely enough. The head is ridiculously big. The skirt seems a little... What am I doing wrong on... those are... well, for one thing, the skirt shouldn't be quite that narrow and then going out. But something's not right there. Let's give her more normal chibi size legs. Well, the proportions are certainly better than what I was getting before. But it's still just not feeling right. Okay, eyes. I think I want to go simple on the eyes. I really love Miyazaki's eyes, how simple they are. And I may not want to go quite that simple. But let's play around a little bit with eyes. Might go with something just eyebrows. We have a bunch of eyes. Yeah. Eyes bring life to the character. So we can go kind of rounded. Let's look up Miyazaki's eyes. Do I have... I will. Where's... Sec. That looks more like it. Do that. Oh, is it this again? It won't let me actually capture browsers because I'm going to show YouTube. I think it's that again. That's annoying. Yeah, I can't show you what I'm browsing. Okay. I should check that. OBS can't. Can't window capture browser. Black screen trying to capture internet. Okay, so I'm going to put my browser. That might just be, you know. They can do Chrome. Hardware acceleration, interesting. Settings. 1 second, guys. Please stand by while I fiddle around with settings here. Where are the settings? There we go. Settings. Nope, don't have it done there. The source to window. I did get the source to window. 1 sec. And stand by. Windows, how does it match? Windows Linux Fuel, maybe? Nope. This would be interesting to try to figure out. Chrome. I don't think I have Chrome on here. So I will install it. So obviously, internet will get a little, yeah, internet's already gotten slow. Watch a video explaining Macross / Robotech. Now switching to Macross. Thanks. You're welcome, Daniel. Glad that was helpful to you. You know, I have absolutely nothing against Robotech. I had a great time watching it. But it is definitely, you know, it is a different experience. It is a different world. It's not the same situation. Right, but the point here was we wanted to Google Miyazaki characters. We should probably say Hayao, because there's more than a Miyazaki. Search images. Let's look at those eyes. That's not really very helpful. But yeah, very simple eyes, relatively speaking. Yeah, I do like that. It's not very chibi, obviously, but we can play around with that. Oops, one sec. That's also not very helpful. I want something that shows multiple. Ooh, that's some bad fan art. Sorry, artist, but that's just oof. Ooh, that's yeah, that not as good is good. So I think I'll do that. Yeah, you know what? Chrome, we can cancel you for now. Okay. So I want something Miyazaki-esque for my characters. Not exactly, but I like the idea of these much simpler. So we'll put the eye starting down here, and then just a much simpler. And those pupils, I think, are just going to be like that, with some little bubbles. And obviously I can improve that, but then I don't know, that feels a little too South Park to me. What do you think? I think they do need to be, you know, there's much bigger irises. But we're going to try to keep them fairly... There are certainly some times when I feel like I basically need to spend a day just drawing circles. How's that? That's not bad. So yeah, I think we're going to need eyes that big. Curve, not that. Drawing's hard, folks. At least the way I do it. But yeah, that's a very reasonable shape for the eyes. All right, so yeah, let me try inking this and just see how it turns out. I definitely feel like I'm getting closer to figuring out this whole thing. Not that I'll probably ever figure out the style, but I do love that idea that once you actually pick up the pen, you are committing yourself. Not that you can't ever change anything, but this is the point at which you decide, okay, here's my character. And now I have a new tool that I might premiere tonight. Exciting. Depending on how this turns out. And I'm ahead and make her a little more curved. And then we'll adjust this stuff over a bit. Appropriately. Okay. Yotuba. Yeah, a little Yotuba, definitely. That is certainly a comic that I love, and we're getting more of it. They're releasing the next volume in Japan shortly. Oops, that's a mistake right there. I think I can fix. But yeah, there's a certain thing, and certainly, I mean, if I were to do anything chibi that worked out well, and it was like a reasonable, long-term success, like I'd want it to be like Azuma's style. Okay. Yeah. I may have to redo that. So that's interesting. I may end up shifting these over somehow. I really don't like how shaky my hand is when I'm doing these, and I don't know what's the best way of improving that. Like, that's part of those line reps, is to get that out of my system, but I generally don't seem to be able to do that very well. See, that's a better line. Maybe I'm just not being confident enough. Try this. Okay. We'll fix that later. Yeah, I love Azuma's work all the way back to Azumanga. But yeah, I'd love to do some little fun SD story. It's not just pure comedy. There's a little bit more going on there, but with that basic idea. Something. It's obviously the SD style works better for something more light and comedic. That whiteout does not want to dry. I used a lot too, though. So I want to do a little story. Oh, I almost forgot. It's a girl, so give her some eyebrows. Or eyelashes, rather. It's a pretty good start. I'll go ahead and add some shadow under there. That always seems to just, give it some depth. In fact, I'll probably do that here as well. A very simple little improvement. Just add some depth and some a sense of reality, for lack of a better term, to the character. Okay. So yeah, that's not bad, just as a start. Again, thanks Daniel for the marks idea. That's definitely helped with that. So I think her hair is maybe a little too small, but not too bad. How do you like looking at the back of my head? It's very exciting, isn't it? Okay, that's reasonably dried. So hopefully now, yeah, that's better. Okay, that's good to know that I can fix some things that are where the lines are really funky. Let's see what this looks like when I erase it. Oh, she's cute. Oops. Huh. Her hair ceased to exist. Yep, forgot that line too. I'll sort of stick to lines that are not near that whiteout for now. Fortunately, I'm not a manga artist under deadline, so I don't have to worry about every single line and smudge. Okay, yeah, she could be a protagonist of a character, of a story. I'm happy. Okay, and so then obviously the next question will be whether I can replicate this. So that's what I'm going to try next. Before that, I need to take a quick research break. Do I have anything I didn't show? Oh, which one is this? Yeah, that'll work. All right, I'm going to show a little clip of a video I did some months ago. So I'll be back in just a few minutes. Before this video ends, I will go ahead and I'll be back. Welcome to Otaku no Video. As always, thank you very much for joining me, where today I want to talk about burnout. Every so often I'll go to a convention and I'll do a panel and someone will come up to me and say, how do you keep your love of anime? How do you keep watching anime? Because I just don't really want to watch anime anymore. And you often see this burnout in the people's eyes. You see this depression in their faces. And so I want to talk really quickly about that. First off, burnout is normal. Most fans I know have gone through periods of burnout. Some of them last a long time. I personally have had burnout that lasts for months. And I'm talking 6 to 9 months at a time, where I just would watch no anime. Maybe an episode here or there. You know, maybe somebody was watching anime, so I'd sit down and watch it, but just the interest was not there. That's okay. Couple of thoughts on that. First off, you can burn out on anything, right? There's no reason to expect that whatever you like, you're going to like it exactly the same intensity the rest of your life. So it is totally okay to have a dry spell. But tactics. What do you actually do? A few suggestions. First, don't fight it too hard. Don't go back to anime and try to force yourself to watch a lot of anime. It sometimes works, but in general, I think it's best to just sit back, relax, and just not watch anime for a while. Give yourself a break. Watch something completely different. Watch some documentaries. Watch some how-to videos. Just take a break from... Actually, fiction in general is not a bad idea. So just let yourself relax for a while and just try something else. I should point out, importantly, some people become otaku, become fans of anime, and then they move on to other things. It's not a moral failing for you to get into anime for a few years and then just get out, right? You liked it. You liked the shows you watched, but it's just not for you long term. That's fine. But if you're worried about it, if you're upset about it, that's often a sign that you do love it on some level, but you're burned out. Okay, so first off, don't force yourself too hard. Secondly, watch other things. Thirdly, pursue your favorite genres within anime. A lot of the ways that people get burned out in anime is that they focus on the anime coming out right now, and the anime that folks are really talking about, while their preferred genre may not be popular at the moment, so those shows might just not appeal to them. If you're a big fan of big space opera science fiction, there's very little of that in any given season of anime. Someone else is, why aren't you watching the latest, magical girl show or the latest, slice of life show? You might try that and say, they're okay, but it's kind of not for me. So go back and look for those shows. One great way to do that is to search for classic, name of genre, anime. So classic, and try to be reasonably specific. So classic space opera anime, or classic epic fantasy anime. And then open all the tabs, right? Don't just go to the first one. Open a whole bunch of tabs on all the lists that you find, and then start going through there and look for shows that show up over and over and over. Because you don't want to get too wrapped up in one individual person's top 10 list. Because people have idiosyncratic, tastes. So look for the things that show up a lot in these lists, and then dive into them and try them. It doesn't matter if that anime came out 10 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago. It might still be your favorite anime of all time. You won't know until you've actually watched it. Also, by the way, beware of people's strong opinions about the show one way or the other. You'll see a lot of people say, oh, you don't want to watch a show from the 70s. They all look terrible. Depends on the show. It depends on your ability to deal with and to appreciate older shows. A lot of people just can't watch older anime, and I personally think that's a little bit of an artistic failing on our part. It's like saying I can't watch a piece of impressionistic art because it was painted 100 years ago. What? It's all just art. Now, certainly the animation style is different. You don't have to like the original animation style. There's certainly animation styles across that but don't worry. In other words, don't automatically assume that you're going to hate a show just because it was made in the 70s or the 80s, the 90s. Give it a try. And especially these days when so much anime is available streaming, when so much available anime is legally, you can just go and get it. It's fine. And a lot of it's available on DVD for cheap. Go on Amazon. Look for used DVDs on Amazon. You can get some of this anime for $5 and give it a try. See what you like in that, in your favorite genres. Okay, sorry to cut myself off like that, but that is sometimes how these things have to work. I want to play around with that at some other point. Fact, whoops. I don't mind myself. Sorry, I should have done this off camera. Alright, so where are we? We got our little character here. So what I'm going to do now is put her off to the side and try to duplicate her. Alright, it's a very simple thing. It's a very obvious thing. But I am not at a point where I am confident in my artistic skills. So I'm just going to try to draw this character again and see if I can do that. Okay, put her over here. And get our pens positioned appropriately. Our pens positioned appropriately. It's got some nice p sounds to it. And then we will again do our marks. Thanks to Daniel. Daniel, you are awesome. So again, we'll do every 6 centimeters for this, just as a starting point, a convenient place. Doesn't really matter what you decide to do. Oh, we need, that's all right, because we're doing, and then 24. We need 3 sections, which means we need 4 marks, because that's how that works. 24. All right. Oh, you're welcome, Kuma. Glad to do it. Trying to have a variety of different videos that I'm showing and bringing back, because I realize a lot of folks just don't watch every video, right? And so it can be helpful to pull back some of the classics, some of the things I did that I think I did pretty well. All right, so again, we're gonna try drawing her again. This is SD. What's her name? What is her name? Alice, I think. And oh, we forgot to sign this. I'm gonna do that in ink. Okay. So SD protag, protag, Alice, number 2. All right, so we do, so the hair comes down pretty much all the way, like that. So we're gonna do kind of a, I think it should be a little bit wider there, maybe. Yeah, sort of a ghost shape there. Then we will put in her bangs, which will come in about here maybe. And I'm okay if this isn't, you know, exactly right, because, you know, bangs are never exactly right. But I want to get the basic shapes. Then we go down to there-ish, and then down to there. And then we do our curve, which that's pretty wrong. Went very shallow on one side and very curved on the other. So let's do that again. Okay. Not too bad so far. So then we do neck. Next, I was going to do a big neck. Don't know why that is. So I noticed there's a trailer for Mr. Rogers' documentary come out soon. That's exciting. I definitely grew up on Mr. Rogers. So again, the body's smaller than the head, bizarrely, and then comes down about halfway. And then ends. And then we get the skirt, which flares out to a bit beyond that mark. And then we curve that down a bit. Curve that down. Okay, and then we do our arms down. Again, I do not expect myself to do this particularly well, but the point is to see how close I can get to what I had before. Yeah. Knowing that I'm probably not going to get very close, but I can kind of, from there, figure out how to get that better. Okay. What did I do wrong? Went too narrow on the the body. So the body needs to be wider. Easy mistake to fix. I said a little narrower than the head, but I made it a lot narrower than the head. So we'll go like that maybe. Yeah. And make that skirt come down a little further. Make her a little more modest perhaps. Yeah, that's feeling better. And then obviously the arms here need to be a little thinner. I can adjust that with pen. The legs are, I think I had the skirt flare out a bit more. And the legs, I don't know. I think the legs need to be a little thicker up top. That's the problem. So I went narrow to thick on the legs, but I should have gone essentially straight. So that's the problem there. I was kind of anticipating, I think, that the foot. So I kind of went, out towards the foot when I shouldn't have done that. Lesson learned. And again, I'm going for a very simple leg shape here. So yeah, that's fairly close. Not unhappy with that. Let's try the eyes. Yep, we go about like that. Like that, and then we want those fairly large orbs. In Azumanga, as I recall, the eyes are very large. I'm sorry, the eyes are almost solid. Let's check. Oh, I've got my music. 1 second. So let's look at the art in original Azumanga. So yeah, those are black orbs, at least in the well, not necessarily. Chiyo-chan there is she's got color in the irises, but definitely not there. Interesting. There's even a difference here. So she's got. I wonder how well the camera will handle zooming in on this art. It'll be right up there. Okay, there we go. So you can see Chiyo-chan is, she has quote unquote color in her pupils, but we go down here, we can't quite go there because, and it's just all black in that panel there. It's all black eyes. So even within one, definitely in here, if it will focus. There we go. Oh, interesting. Huh, why did it? It's fine, okay, fine. That's definitely black-ish. Weird, so if that's there, something to do with the lighting, I guess. As soon as I get it out of that, okay. And then the bit of shading on Osaka down there in the lower right. Wow, this is really unhappy. Okay, there we are. You can see how Osaka has a little bit of shading in her eyes. Let's try volume 4, at which point his styles change considerably. Actually, I think the front cover kind of tells you where he's going with this. So yeah, sure enough. So there with Yukari Sensei and the other teacher. Come on. So yeah, so that's not working. So oh, there we are. So you see how we have shading here, but no shading there. So it just kind of depends. All right, good to know. But there is a certain amount of when you don't have any shading, like down there, the character does seem a little bit more comedic, whereas the character feels a little more real if there's some shading to the eyes. Okay, so learned a lot there, but also those are almost solid things, so that's something to think about as well. Okay, so I can fix up those things. The hair should probably come down more like this, and then we'll do again the kind of sawtooth hair there. Okay, let's ink that and see how close I am. Get the music back on. All right, where's my, there it is. Do not like how, yeah, I definitely need to pull more than push, which is a pretty standard piece of advice, which I tend to forget a lot. Because sometimes I can push and it's fine, like there, but it's definitely a lot easier for the, in general, to pull. Yeah, I don't like that at all. So I'm going to pull that line further up and cut it back down. And let's, yeah, this zoom, this focus is going to go nuts until I autofocus it again. Okay. I was watching an episode of Naoki Urasawa no Manben, which is this documentary where he goes and talks to various mangaka and looks at how they actually do their work. And one guy was trying to get the eyes on this one character right, and he inked it, and went back over 6 more times, just erasing the eyes and inking them back again, and looking at it going, no, yeah, no, yeah, you know, and just, you know, re-inking the eyes that many times, just kind of nuts. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Azuma's style definitely matures over the course of Azuma Gadayo, which I never would have thought when I first watched it or first read it, because it seemed like a very mature art style, but it definitely improved. It definitely changed, I guess would be a better term for it. Oh, I went. I think I used the 3 for the, so that'll be a difference. Maybe. Alright, so I'm going to try going very carefully on these eyes. Alright, trying to get a very, because obviously I have a tough time making these ovals actually oval. Okay, good. We'll fill those in. Okay. And then we add the bubble, which adds life to the eyes. And we give her eyelashes. little difficult when you have there. Maybe give her a little smile. Smile a little different there. All right, go back to the rest of the head. Pull down the thing. Maybe I just need to be a little more careful with the lines. I don't know. It feels like when I try to get really careful with the lines, I start wiggling. Let's make that shirt just kind of flap down a little more naturally. Get a little bit of curve on there. That's the problem. Is I get all this weird wiggly and the weird. A lot of it is just like me dragging my finger along the. Yeah. Okay. Do that there. Yeah, I feel like I'm probably just going a little bit too. I should be a little more loose with my lines. Alex looks cool. Thank you. Yeah, I think so. So then the next question will be, assuming I can get her style fairly correct, or at least replicable, right? Let's make those arms like that. Okay, then I wanted to pull that hair down like there. So yeah, so this mangaka, that's better for the hair. It's a little weird, but it's better than that weird thing coming down. So I'm definitely glad I did that. Yeah, she's pretty cute. All right, so let's. Whoops, well, I gotta erase first. Oh, yep, see, I got too close into that. Stay away from that. Need the whiteout again. Yeah, this guy had whiteout all over that. Those eyes. The eyes are just this whole big mess of whiteout to get those 7 different versions in. But he said that's me. I'll go back over that with a pen. But yeah, I would not mind at some point to actually make this to the point where I am producing a little, like I said, maybe a little comic strip weekly, and that is just part of what we get done. So we actually do a little comic strip that actually gets published, probably online. Okay. I'm just gonna kind of come back in there and just gonna dot in that line. There. Okay. A little funky, but I can live with that. So here's the next question. That's pretty close. Obviously the smile's different, but that was intentional. Her body's actually a little bigger on this one. I actually overcompensated a little bit. But I don't know, you know, if someone told you that's the same character, would you say, you'd be like, yep, that's the same character? Like, it's slightly different art, obviously. But that's pretty close. Alright. Yeah, I'd be willing now to start trying to draw a character like this over and over again for an art style. Oh, still not quite done yet. To really copy that. Just trying to make sure it looks a little closer. Yeah. Again, I got a lot to play around with here, but I'm fairly happy with that. You can see the differences. So let's look at the differences. I made the pupils a little smaller here. Again, her body's a little wider here. Legs are a little thinner here. But otherwise, like the hairstyle pretty well matches. The eyebrows match pretty well. I'd probably change, let me just try thickening up the eyebrows. I like eyebrows a little thicker, especially near the top, and then narrow. Yeah, that's better. She looks a little bit more like a person, like that. That just adds a little personality to the character. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty happy. I think I want to make the eye, top of the eye, a little more rounded in future. You know, just sort of curve that more than this slight curve. But yeah, I agree. I think I've got the same character here. So, okay, that tells me that's pretty good. All right, I think that will do it for me for tonight. I'm slowly building up to a multi-hour drawing stream, but I do not have it in me every single week. It's taking a while for me to get to that idea that, okay, I can just keep on doing. So, next week, what should I do? I think I should try drawing Alice from multiple different angles and get her kind of nailed down visually from multiple different angles. Like I said, so, actually, what I will do is I will say... more rounded eye tops, like a better term, and otherwise, yeah. And obviously, I need to be able to draw hands and feet and things like that. But as a basic character that I can draw in multiple situations, so I'm going to experiment with that, and then I should probably say down here. Next time, multiple angles. I always want to plan for next time. Multiple angles, and think of characters, scenario. So next I want to figure out, okay, what is Alice the protagonist of? Am I going to do a magical girl story? Am I going to do a domestic comedy? Again, it'll always be a comedy of some kind with ESD style. But exactly what kind of comedy? I got to think about that a bit. Wouldn't mind doing something fantasy-esque. Maybe she's transported to a fantasy world. That would be fun. And she's experimenting, playing around with, she's attacked by slimes and things like that. That might be fun. Thanks, Kuma. It was good to have you. Good to have you here, Kaminoko, as well, and Daniel and everyone else. Yeah, so maybe I like that idea. Maybe she's transported. It may be a little bit more than I can handle transporting her to a fantasy world. Like, that's a lot. So maybe I'm pushing myself too hard on that concept. So maybe we'll pull back on that a little bit. We'll think. Well, I'll think about that. But maybe something along those lines. Something. I think that there's a kernel of something there. All right. Yeah. Thank you all very much for joining me. And we'll be back next week with another drawing session. Should be, and obviously more fun stuff happening. I got some videos coming